Hey, so I'm out in the garage and I'm kind of spending a little bit of time on the Chaser. So if you saw the video a couple of months ago, early mid-December, you might have saw that my JZX 100 Chaser landed here in North Dakota about that time. So in that video, I talked a little bit about it, but ultimately worked with an importer that's in Florida. He's got a broker that he works with in Japan. We saw this one come through the auction like August's timeline, I think last year of 22. And went ahead and bid on it. Did win the bid. Waited. It landed to us here in the States late November. In Florida, I'm in North Dakota. Had to work with the transport company. Took a couple of weeks, but ultimately, sometime early December, it landed. And landed here in North Dakota. So I've just had it parked in the garage, basically pulling it out once in a while, just as I bring tint projects or whatever in the garage. But haven't been driving it yet. So other than a couple of times on the road, I don't have it licensed yet. Waiting on the title information and all that stuff to kind of get buttoned up. But I haven't been in a huge rush because it is winter and I don't plan to drive it anyway. But I have some time. I'm out here in the garage working on this, and ultimately what I've done at the moment is took the rain guards off. The adhesive started failing on those factory rain guards, and it was really they were starting to flap and fall off. So I figured before I lose it, I pulled them off the remaining way, and right now just kind of working on getting all this leftover dried up old glue and adhesive stuff off the trim. So I kind of been putzing with it already on the other side. I did get that cleaned up pretty well. I'm actually kind of happy with how it went. So it would be ready should I put those back on, just to put a new installation of double-sided tape, and we'll be able to put those on. But this might be a good chance just to do kind of a quick walk around and take a look. So this was perceived, if you did see that last video, to be a one-owner, low-kilometer chassis. It is a 2RS. It does have the sport interior. It is a 1JZ, so it is a JZX chassis, but it's the non-turbo and it is automatic. I went that route for one because it was just unmolested. It's a chassis and it's a car that's in really good shape. It is unverified kilometers, being 59,000 kilometers is what it does say on the cluster. So it does say 59,000 kilometers, which would ultimately it would translate to about 37,000 miles. It's unverified. I don't know that for sure, but I did get some service records in the glove box, looked through that a little bit. The last that I could really decipher from those records is the last service that was completed was in August of 2010, and in that timeline it had around like 35,000 kilometers. So from the 35,000 kilometers in 2010 to the 59,000 kilometers I see in the cluster in 2022, it leaves me to believe that that's pretty legit. The interior is really nice shape. Really can't complain at all. Factory carbon with the black sport gray, charcoal gray interior. Everything's nice, plush. Just what you would expect to see on the JZX. They're not worn. They still have some gloss just on those carbon trim pieces. Sometimes you'll see a lot of wear on those, but like I said, it is auto, it is non-turbo, but this makes for a fantastic chassis that's in really good shape, really unmolested and all original, that I can really start from scratch and build my dream version of what I would want the car to be, and not have to really decipher through what somebody else has already gone through and do other things other than kind of necessary maintenance and upgrades as I see fit. So if I look under, just taking a look under the hood, nothing special, obviously, being the NA1J, but it is in pretty, really impressive shape, which is another reason why I think that it's ultimately is as low kilometer as it describes. Just looking at the condition, just looking at the the ability to be able to still read all the labels, the plastics still look good, nothing looks worn, nothing's covered in oil. containers, everything. It just portrays to me that either it went through a pretty extensive detail process prior to shipping, because we haven't had any sort of detail as this landed here. As soon as it landed in Florida, it wasn't very long and it was already making its way up here. So I know the owner, not the owner, sorry, the importer that was in Florida, he only had it for about a week or two as I was organizing the shipment, and he'll help facilitate that. He kind of did a wash on the outside, exterior hose down and sponge bath, but other than that, it's really this as it arrived from port. So really impressed with that. There is door days. There is some where there is some bumps. There's some scuffs or some scrapes, so it's not perfect in any means. So I don't know how it was utilized when it was in Japan, but it definitely appears to not have traveled very long distance. But it does look like it's had some life. So if we look here, you can see there's quite a few dings here on the fender. You can kind of see those ripples there and some scuffs and scrapes. So that's kind of a bummer. A few of them kind of taper off out here into the door. So that's kind of a bummer. I'm definitely going to look to see if I can connect with, we have a couple of places here in town that do PDR. I don't know what they're going to be able to get away with, but any improvement that they can provide is going to be beneficial, of course. Let's see, we've got some obvious scrapes that you would see on the moldings. A little bit here scraped on the rear wheel arch. Seems like that's pretty common. I don't know if it's just turning radius or why, but it does seem that these wheel arches stick out enough to get beat up on plenty of these JZX chassis. But I love the blue color. Definitely could use some paint correction. You can see the swirl marks and scuffs and scrapes. So yeah, a paint correction of some kind, or just a cut and buff, or just something to really clean this up, I think will be amazing. But for the most part, I am really happy with the car overall. So that's kind of the plan, is to leave it as is until we get to the point where I can check out what PDR would look like, check out what a detail shop can do to clean it up, and then get myself into the wheels and tires, some coilovers, get a nice upgrade there, and get that kind of sitting a little bit lower on just looking less like an all original car. I'll be soon here probably just throwing tint on the windows. Of course, obviously it's pretty surprising I haven't done it already, just being that that's primarily what I'm doing myself a lot of the time, but really haven't spent a ton of time out here at all working on this. I have had other tint projects that really kind of occupy, and then of course a couple of kids and sports, travel, working full-time, all that stuff. It hasn't been a priority to really get out here and do a whole lot as a result, just because of course it is winter and I'm not driving it yet. So I think for right now, I'm gonna keep moving on here and working on cleaning up the rest of this old double-sided tape adhesive that is stuck on here and kind of gross as leftover from those those rain guards, those factory guards. So I'll set the camera up and we'll kind of time lapse a little bit of that. And that's kind of just a quick fast detail. Got that cleaned up. That was really just the goal. Goal was just to kind of clean that up a little bit because it really looked bad, but definitely wasn't a full proper. The objective really is to rid that chrome trim anyway. So I did use a Scotch pad that really accelerated it. But of course, using a Scotch pad is abrasive, so it did make a little bit of a scuff mark on that trim. But ultimately what I'm gonna do is take some gloss black, just gloss black vinyl. I've got some vinyl scraps, and I'll just kind of do a blackout type package with some vinyl on the perimeter chrome trim or on the door belt molding and up and around the top. And that'll just kind of give it more of that stealth look. Just really on the fence, I think the car is in a stage to where, you know, a good, proper, I think, paint restoration, you know, kind of a cut and buff and polish and ceramic coating, maybe even, you know, something to that effect would really be ideal. And I think that to preserve that original color, I do really like. The clear coat seems to be, you know, in great shape, so that why would I want to get crazy? But I think that it's at the weird stage to where there's too many things all the way around that are just going to need some attention. And as we look at just all of that stuff, the further we go around, you know, these wheel arches, etc., you know, the rear bumper, it's just like a full paint job. A full paint job is probably in cards, you know, probably doing a full original color paint job, but like that's not in the scope of where I am right now with the project. That's probably 2, 3, 4 years down the road, maybe. You know, I envision this being a long-term car, not a flip. I want to build it slow, the way I want to, exactly, you know, what I want it to look like when it's all complete and mechanically and cosmetically, and really enjoy it for a long time, because it is a timeless classic. And you know, it's in the craze now because it's in the legal years where they're available to come to States, but at the same time, mid-90s Japanese engineering and sports cars were just iconic. And I think that it's something that I definitely want to say that it was the right chassis to get into, to make a project that I could keep for a very long time and build to what I exactly want. So a brand new paint job to, you know, definitely complete that at some point in the future is realistic, but I'm leaning more and more towards doing a full vinyl wrap, addressing what I can with some PDR and some detailing, and then ultimately I just think there's going to be those cosmetic flaws that just can't be fixed without paint. And ultimately taking, you know, a dark blue metallic type vinyl that is very close, just doing a full wrap for one that's going to protect the clear coat a little bit longer, you know, to buy me some time until I'm ready to kind of go through that whole stage of paint, repainting it, but it'll cover up all those kind of blemishes, and it'll give me, you know, some just a cosmetic fresh look for, you know, for a couple few years is kind of what I'm thinking. And then, you know, going with a dark blue that's similar when you open the doors, the trunk, the hood, the jams, all that type of stuff is still going to show, you know, the dark blue paint. It might not be a perfect match, but it's not going to be something where it's dramatically crazy, kind of like my Tacoma is. If you've seen the videos for that, I wrapped it like a, you know, a satin charcoal metallic gray, but the truck was red, so when I open up the doors, you see red. I you know, most people don't notice that when from the outside you wouldn't know, but that's just the reality of a vinyl wrap color change if you don't do all the jams. In this particular case, I think, you know, a dark blue wrap is probably in the future. We'll see how this summer goes, but diving into the first things really is wheels and tires, coilovers, kind of get that stance a little bit, and sitting a little bit more sporty or a little more aggressive. You know, just wheels will change the look of a car. And then of course, tint, a little bit of vinyl, the black strip around the chrome like I was just talking about, probably some tint on the taillights, like a medium or a light smoke, nothing that's dramatically blacked out. I want this to be really a mature sports car, but have some cosmetic things in there that just kind of, you know, set it a little bit apart and you know, really bring it up to kind of just, you know, current styling. But it's all my vision, the route that I plan to go, and you know, that's the Chaser as it sits right now. Looking forward, a couple more months yet, I think, before the weather really gets favorable. Getting the title stuff figured out here pretty soon. That will, you know, allow me to get some plates on it. It's basically got a Florida title right now. That registration and customs and that documentation is complete. I just need to get through the North Dakota sign and get that transferred and get the plates on order. I'm going to go with custom plates, personalized. And yeah, and I've got time to wait anyway. But hey, I appreciate you watching. This was just kind of a not much of an eventful, just more of sharing kind of the story and introducing the Chaser to the channel. I'm going to try to do a lot of everything that I kind of take place on the Chaser. I want to document, and I want to really kind of bring a project into this channel, and ultimately just bring something a little more worth following than just the random kind of videos of tint and vinyl and random projects that kind of come through, but more of a storyline to the content. So again, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Look forward to more Chaser content as the project unrolled. So we'll see you then.